Good morning, 247commitment.org. It's Lori Mercer, and we are in Fire Prevention for Your Marriage Month. Not exactly halfway through. There's 31 days in October, but we are up to day 15, and it's inevitable. We cannot talk about fire prevention in our marriage unless we talk about sex, and so this is going to be interesting and fun, right? Welcome, everybody. I see lots of people joining this morning. I promise this will be safe. Safe, yes. Okay, that's awesome, Jennifer, because I hadn't even put that in. Let me just tell you, I'm going to come back to the cookie baking. I got to write that in my notes. This is a topic, there's no way we can talk about our marriages and not talk about intimacy. And it might feel uncomfortable. And I will tell you, this is not mine and Dan's favorite marriage topic to talk about because it's, I think it takes a special kind of person to be really open about this. Normally, when we're talking about intimacy with our 24/7 community, we have people like Tony and Elisa DiLorenzo who run One Extraordinary Marriage, and they do an awesome job of this. So we'll like, here, let us pass you on to the experts. But we're real, and so to be legit, I feel like we have to address this for sure. If you are uncomfortable about this topic, it's a sign, right? Because society is so twisted around this topic, and it was totally meant to be a good thing. It was made to procreate. It was made to connect you to husband and wife. It was made to be a good thing. And the fact that we all get kind of squirmish about it sometimes tells you how twisted it's really gotten. And it goes all the way back to how your mom or dad told you, or whoever told you about sex the first time. Like, think back to that. Like, what kind of wrong thinking did you have from the very beginning because of how they introduced the topic to you? So here's what I say about this. Number one, ever since we started doing 24/7 commitment, yeah, my parents didn't talk about it a lot either. But ever since we started doing 24/7 commitment, I have to say that I have grown so much in this space. And so I have a lot of insight into how do you grow in this space because it was a very uncomfortable topic for me. And yeah, there's abuse, there's pornography. It's just so twisted. So we want to make it healthy. That's our goal today. We totally want to talk about it in a healthy way. I didn't even know if I should put the word sex in the title because I didn't know if I was going to get like blocked from somebody's feed or what that was going to look like. But there you go. It's there. So I say this when I get negative feedback on this, talking about it and bringing it up, I sort of say, hey, I'm a believer in Jesus, and I'm pretty sure that Jesus wanted us to have really freaky, awesome sex with our spouses. So that's the goal, right? That's where we want to get you guys. We don't have to know all the details. It's meant to be private and intimate, but there's things we can definitely learn from each other. So if I think back to the very first Flame Fest. So Flame Fest is like our couples gathering, right? But the very first Flame Fest, we were really just a group of women, wives. And so Flame Fest was kind of a cute name for a girls meetup, but the guys came too, right? And we did a couple sessions with the guys, but then the guys went to a shooting range and we did all this girl stuff, and then we had a nice ball. And I will tell you, the number one reason that our men were on board for coming to that first Flame Fest is because their sex lives had been better ever since their wives joined this group. Isn't that crazy? So they're like, what is going on with this? And I will tell you my secret. What I see is the reasoning for that is because when you get, and I'm only talking for the women, right? Like, I'm not really sure what to say to the guys on this topic. So those of you who we do pass the scope with, I want you to, the men, to think about this and address it from the men's side, because I honestly don't know what to say to the men. But from the women's side, and this will help you guys understand a bit, when you have trusted girlfriends, like really trusted girlfriends, and you're in a safe place, there's a number of things that you talk about. And our latest Ohio Firewife Sisterhood Women's Weekend, I came back and told my husband it was a great time. We talked about babies, we talked about our kids, we talked about working out, we talked about nail polish, we talked about church, and we talked about sex. And that pretty much sums it up, right? It definitely helps spice it up. And when you're in that intimate, safe space with girls, you can talk about things like, yes, Andy, I can't wait to hear what you're going to say. I'm going to challenge you, Andy, to talk about this topic a little bit because you do such a great job with what you're doing. And this needs to be a safe place to talk because it can so make our marriages so much healthier. So for the women, just having that safe place to kind of ask questions, to learn, because you don't want to go to the internet to learn about this topic. Please do not go to the internet to learn about this topic, right? You have to get into a safe place with safe girlfriends. And you can just learn about, I mean, okay, I'll give some G-rated stuff like, I like these kind of underwear and this is where I get them and here's why I like them. Okay, that's pretty G-rated, but it goes a little further, right? And when you have that safe place with girlfriends to talk, you're definitely going to challenge yourself and push yourself, and your husband is going to be like, whoa, what are we doing and where did this come from? And that is exactly what's happened with the Firewife Sisterhood. In fact, we have a group called Fire Up Your Love Life where we've made that safe place where it's sort of an ask anything. Like I see women pop in there who aren't really active in our group and who are suddenly like, I didn't know where else to go, but I know you ladies could help me. Here's what's going on. Do you have any suggestions? And man, have I learned some things I never even knew existed in that group. And it's definitely helped our marriage too. Here's one piece of advice though. I'm specifically talking women to women and men to men. Like this is not a topic to cross, like don't like make your confidant somebody the opposite sex in the space. Never, never. This is definitely a women to women and a men to men topic or couples to couples. So week 5 of Marriage on Fire, we recorded a video with Tony and Elisa DiLorenzo, and it's been the most revealing that we had as far as Dan and I sharing in this space of intimacy with our audience and with Tony and Elisa, and we talked through things like you know, what if he wants it and she doesn't? What if she wants it and he doesn't? And how do you match that up? And how do you communicate about this? And it's a communication topic to start with, right? But week 5 of Marriage on Fire, if you're not in that program, we are just starting. We've just kicked off another round. Go to 247commitment.org/marriage on fire. This is one of our paid programs that funds our initiatives. It's $80 per couple, but you get a 6-week program, 6 weeks of videos, homework, lessons, this community. And well, the best result is that you get more intentional focus on your marriage. You're going to end up a better couple when you come out of it, when you put the work into it. So week 5 of Marriage on Fire, we will get to that. We talked about in the fire service with the schedules. One of the very first videos I ever did was about scheduling sex. And you can go out to our YouTube channel and see that, youtube.com/wifeonfire. And that one's pretty far back, but it gets a ton of hits, so it might show up in the feed higher. And early on, I was like, you know what, this is a barrier to our marriages because especially if you have little kids, right? Suddenly, like, he's gone one night, the next night, maybe he's still recovering from being gone, and then the next night you got somebody with a fever in your bed, right? Then he's working a 48, and suddenly you've gone 7 days and you haven't really been intimate with each other at all, and that starts to be too long. So I'm sort of a planner. There's usually one planner in every relationship. So I started thinking about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, if we aren't intimate one of the 2 nights he's home, it might be a whole week before it happens again. So that's kind of an easy guideline if you're thinking about, you know, in the fire service marriage. If you're a little tired, just realize like, but maybe I'm not that tired and maybe we need to turn in a little early because I really want some alone time with my spouse because otherwise it's going to be a whole nother week. So yes, scheduling sex, it's sexy when you talk about calendars, but you know, you really have to be intentional about it. So today when we pass the scope, like I said, I can't wait to hear what the men say. I want some of you to talk about, there's so many topics here, so many, like we could talk about this for a whole week. And I'm trying to keep these to like reasonable 5-minute scopes. I'm loving how there's 48 people live because I put the word sex in the title. Maybe I should talk about this for a week, right? I mean, thanks for the hearts. I did not give my husband fair warning about what this topic was today. He may not even scope. This, you know, and that's totally within his realm. So yeah, I want to hear your guys' feedback on this because again, we're going very high level, but it's a topic that if you want to prevent fires in your marriage, you better not be going weeks at a time without sex. That would be a detriment to your marriage. Being able, and yes, and it starts not with the sex, Jessica, right? It starts with being able to talk openly and honestly with each other about it. And if that means first you start with a safe group of girlfriends to talk to them, and get past your issues with intimacy and your own self, that's a good place to start. I also always tell women, you know, the sexiest thing that you can wear to bed is confidence. Just be confident. He married you, right? He loves you. He loves you right as you are. I saw something on Facebook this week where a girl had some boudoir photos shared, which, by the way, is where this topic all started in the Fireway Sisterhood. There were some ladies who had done boudoir photos. I don't even know if I'm saying that word right. And other ladies were like, holy cow, I could never do that. And suddenly these women felt empowered, like, hey, I am beautiful and I want to be beautiful for my husband. And I want him to have that. I want him to look at these pictures. And it was the most empowering, confident building thing that they ever did. And it opened up some of those communication channels, right? So, yeah, the most obvious, yeah, exactly, Jessica. It's a very vulnerable, scary conversation because if you open up these conversations, I think it's so easy to damage a man's spirit, if you give him any clue that he's not meeting your needs. And it's such a sensitive, difficult conversation to have. But if you don't have it, now you go 1 year into marriage, 5 years into marriage, 10 years into marriage, and suddenly for 10 years he thinks he's not meeting your needs. Oh my gosh, like risk it now. Like, make sure you're both open about that, and that you get to those conversations early. Now you're on fire. Hey, there's something about that, right? There's something about women in their 40s, I think. I don't know if you're in your 40s yet, but it comes back. um, yeah, and men have to be confident in themselves and understand themselves, and things change, right? Our bodies change. And therefore sex changes when our bodies change. Yes, Dan just took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say that. Sex starts long before you get to the bedroom at night. It starts with building each other up all day with words, with touches, with hints, with clues. We're really big about, in the Fireway Sisterhood, we talk a lot about texting or sexting your husband, right? I mean, just really keeping that communication flowing, giving them hints. Anticipation is the best kind of foreplay, is something we like to share. Doing the dishes is so hot. Yes, it is. It totally is. Speaking each other's love language, getting the love tanks filled up. Yeah, FaceTime. Oh my gosh, we have so many tools at our disposal these days. Knowing the love language, right? Like for someone it might be doing the dishes. Like if you're a woman who's like acts of service is your love language, and you go to bed at night but your house is a wreck, your brain just might not be there. You might be thinking about, the dishes and this and this and this and this because all these acts of service didn't get done. If yours is words, it might not matter that your house is a mess. If your husband's love language is words, right? Words of affirmation, and you spent the whole day cleaning the house and didn't speak to him, he's not going to go to the bedroom either feeling very filled up with love and ready to be intimate. So communication, it all starts with communication, absolutely. And recreating those moments. So here was another tip. Now I'm going long on the topic, I know, but I keep coming to some really, really fun suggestions that we touch on all through our community. Change of environment, right? Like we so stress getting away, not just a date, but getting away with each other. Like I know nobody's going to disagree with me when I say, why is hotel sex better than sex at home? I don't know, just because you're away and it's a new environment and your mind isn't on all the stuff at home. It's just you and the hotel room and, a different setting. And there's just something more intimate and exciting about that. You can focus. Yes, you're there just together. There isn't a lot of other distractions around. So getting away, changing things up and getting away and kind of like resetting that spark is awesome. This is why we really encourage our commitment weekends. Commitment weekends are weekends for firefighters and their spouse, and really it's not a conference or a retreat. It's like a getaway experience, and it's not just a vacation, right? Like we try to blend all that and make it really a way to connect together, to connect in community, and to just leave filled up on all levels about your marriage, yourself, your friendships, your career. And though we're going to open registration for those in a couple weeks. Like my goal is to open it before the end of October because I know all of you guys need to put in for vacation time and everything, and we're going to have special early bird pricing. And I don't want to make this a commercial, but I will tell you that we will have 20 spaces only open in each 4 of our commitment weekends at a crazy early bird discount price, because we really want to get those spots committed so we can lock in our venues and all the facilities. So get away with each other is another good tip. So there's lots of topics you guys can pass the scope about here. I know that, yes, and oh my gosh, those nighttime campfire discussions, or even if there isn't a campfire this year at the one you're going to, those nighttime after hours discussions, I have seen men be incredibly vulnerable at our commitment weekends about topics like pornography. Yeah, exactly. I mean, just you get into that safe place, but now you're in a safe place together with other couples. And even if you're doing something crazy like playing Cards Against Humanity, I don't even know what that game is, but I know you guys all love that. I have just seen couples really open up and connect in our commitment weekends in ways that we could never imagine. Totally takes your marriage to another level. Sometimes we end up there because we're pushed there because of bad circumstances, but when you can choose to go there and choose to be bold and courageous and step in that space and be vulnerable, just amazing things happens. And that, my friends, is the secret to a long-lasting, loving marriage. When you see couples that just seem more and more and more in love, I'm convinced that you learn more about yourself, you get more confident, and you get more vulnerable with each other, and that safety and trust just grows and grows and grows. And it just, you could never imagine doing anything with anybody else because of everything that you've poured into this relationship with another person. And then it all culminates in sex, right? So how could we not like that? Oh, kicking and screaming. Yes, you can share about that, honey. We all do. We all kick and scream in our own way. All right, so a few things you might want to pass the scope about. Young families, I know how hard it is to find the time to have sex, and actually, and it's just a really stressful time when the kids are little and you're working a lot. And I will be honest with you and say we're one of those mega fertile couples that twins, oh my gosh, at least 2 of our pregnancies, we were so busy and so not in an intimate season of our life and so fighting so much that we didn't even have a clue when we actually got pregnant, which is, I know, on the flip side, I know all you people who struggle with fertility hate to hear that, but those are 2 topics. I know, Marlo, I know you're one of those. I wish I could, but I on the flip side, I'm also a bad pregnant woman because I delivered lots of preemies. But young families, it's very hard to find the time, and you're just physically exhausted, and you always have a sticky toddler on you, and that is a really tough season. I know if you're struggling with fertility, it starts to feel like a chore. We do have a fertility support group for the wives inside the Firewife Sisterhood. The pornography topic I touched on, we do have a great page with pornography resources. Firefighterwife.com/pornography, I believe, is the page. And this topic has come up in the Honor Guard multiple times. And I know you guys have been asking us to do a webinar on this and to bring more resources, and I definitely want to do that. It's something that's fallen off of our radar a little bit in this fall as we got busy, but it's an important topic, and I want you guys to be vulnerable and accountable with each other about it, okay? Because it is in our face every single day. And FCF, is that Fellowship of Christian Firefighters? Yeah, there are so many great resources out there. There's even, I'm going to forget I'm going to forget the name of this, but there's some really big name actors right now who are speaking out against pornography, and I'm really impressed with the resources that are coming out on this topic. Lack of sex drive is an issue. The hormones, the low testosterone issues, as we all get older and things change. I mean, it's just, you got to change up the game. Things change, and that's a topic too. Like I wrote in our on the post this morning on Facebook when I was sharing this that when you're 13 and 15, you're learning about sex from your friends, right? Well, I think you still need to be doing that when you're 26 and 37 and 42 and 55 and 68, because it changes at all those seasons. And keeping those friendships with people you trust and who have a healthy outlook is only going to help you learn to go through those seasons together. So, baking cookies. I will close with baking cookies. So, some people who are a little uncomfortable with this topic, and we had this issue because we have 1,000 women in our Firewife Sisterhood, and some women are more vocal about talking about sex, and others are not as comfortable. So we sort of made some code words to make it a little more comfortable for everybody to talk about. And this also allows it to be talked about in front of your children. So baking cookies has become our code word for having sex in the Firewife Sisterhood, and it makes you giggle, and it's especially it's just a safer way to say that. And yeah, I'll come back to that comment, Tina. And the other things we've talked about, and I'm just going to leave them out there: pineapple and coconut oil. And if some of you want to explain that on the scope today, you can. If you are curious about what those two things have to do with intimacy, then you need to get into the Firewife Sisterhood or get into the Honor Guard and talk to the men and talk to the women about it, because they will change your sex life. We can guarantee that. And it's been a very good thing. So yes, see lots of thumbs up on those topics. Doing laundry. I know. Well, yeah, sometimes we say bake cookies and they're like, yeah, let's have some chocolate chip cookies. And we're like, oh, not exactly. But it's been a fun way to be able to talk about the topic. And there's so many good acronyms for baking, or acronyms, analogies, and fun ways to use that word, baking cookies. So there you go. Oh, goodness. Oh, see, that's some of our favorite members making me giggle and blush talking about pineapple and coconut oil. Thank you, Jessica. Thanks for being here to support through this topic. And come join us in the oh, there's a pineapple emoji. There might be a coconut tree emoji. Thanks, Andy. All right. I'm going to watch everybody's scope today. I don't always get to watch everybody's scope, but if anybody scopes on this topic, I am totally watching it. Please make sure that your catch.me account is set. There it is. There's the coconut tree, the palm tree that has coconuts, right? Please make sure your catch.me account is set so we can go back and pull the quotes even after 24 hours. That's just going to help us and generate better content for our community. I think that's it. Yes, coconut oil fixes everything, basically everything. You can use it for everything. And you don't even have to be embarrassed that that's why you have it, until you have to explain why you're keeping some in your bedroom when your mother-in-law visits. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful Thursday. And I might be back with a business blog, a business Periscope later. Yeah, Tina, you have to be ready. You have to be ready for this one. But only do it if you're ready. Not pushing you guys. Only do it if you're ready. Okay? Oh, Mama Berg, you have to go back and watch this one. I see you just joined. This is a good one. You will love this topic. Yeah, Carolyn, you are jumping in and out today. It's okay. We got you. I can't wait to go see the stats on this. How many people will watch a Periscope when you put the word sex in the title? This is a marketing question. Hi, Peggy.
What, baby?
I'm still on scope, hon.
Oh, okay.
Have a great day, guys. Retention. I do not know what to say about that word, Rich. It needs to be talked about. Mama Berg, you need to get in our Firewife Sisterhood. I think you have a lot of good things to say there. Yes, Christine, I would love to see you scope on this topic, girl. I'm not even going to say why, but I know you could do it. So fun. Oh, viewer retention. Oh, I don't even know where my head is going. Like this is me like being, what does retention have to do with sex? What is Rich getting at? Now I want to see those stats. What was the retention on this one? Oh, you guys. Thanks for all the hearts. And I'm going to try to put my work brain back on today and get back to work. You all need to do the same. Have a great Thursday.